So let's begin. I think more people will, keep on joining in as we go along. So first of all, thank you for joining us for today's session. Just a minute, I think. Okay, I'm sorry, there was another tab open. So we are also live streaming this webinar on YouTube. So that's why there was another tab open over there. So, anyways, as you all know that, today's session is going to be on how to become a data analyst with no experience, with no past experience. We will be covering a few of the agenda pointers that, the overall overview of a data analyst roles and responsibilities, what are the technical skills and soft skills that are required, how can you strengthen your resume to become ready for a data analyst role, and maybe some resources and online resources that you can use to be able to upskill. So for the same, I'm quite happy to welcome Akash Tomar. He's going to be the speaker for the session today. He's a data science consultant at Capgemini. He's also worked with Infosys in the past. He has more than 6+ years of experience, more than 6 years of experience. And he has worked both into data analytics as well as software development. So just to remind you, if there are any questions that you have related to the topic, please post in the Q&A box, not the chat window, so that we can, keep a track of the questions and pick it up at the end of the presentation. So without any further delay, Akash, please begin.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thank you for inviting me for the sessions. So it's my basic assumption that most of the attendees over here are from the college student who are just pass out from the college or maybe in the third year or the fourth year. This is my basic assumption. So if you are having any other field, you are from the non-science background or computer science background, you can just use the chat window, and in between also you can chat if you are having any query or any suggestions. I'll be keep a track on the chat window, and we will continue with my presentation part. So we are discussing the how to become the data science. That is my topic. Now the first question is that when I was first of all, let me introduce myself. She has already introduced, so that was my introduction. I'm having the more than 6 year plus of experience. Initially, I have started the software developer, and later on I moved towards the data analytics and the data science. And currently, I'm working with the consultant as the data science and the machine learning part. So that my profile so far. And yeah, and my key skills are basically in school the Python, SQL, .NET, data science, machine learning, EDA, feature engineering, NLP, data IQ, cloud services, and so forth. I hope since you are from the computer science background, you are pretty much aware about familiar with these terminologies. So the first question is that when I was in the college, then whenever someone is suggest me to pursue a particular career, either the data science, machine learning, or even the software developer, the basic thing which comes to my mind is why I do so. So let's start from there. So that why become a data scientist? Why become a data analyst? Because data analysts are in the very high demand in the current market. And as per the this is the factual data as per the Bureau of Labor Statistics project and the employment, it will grow with more than 33% from 2020 to 2030. That's the trend in the job market for the data analyst. Whenever I say the data analyst is this is the compromisation of multiple roles. Like in the current market, the required key skill sets, there are just a little bit of, you can say, up and down from the one or two skills. These are the, you have listened that business analyst, BA, data analyst, data engineer, data science, machine learning engineers. So these are these all profiles having the initial pillar as a data analyst, because the data analyst having the minimal skill set, and whenever you just add for some new skills towards your profile, you become on the top on the ladder. So data analyst is the compromise of multiple roles. So the main thing is like why you should become the data analyst. That is like it is having the future scope. There are lots of the future scope, and the other thing is that it gives you a very good salary. In the average salary for the data analyst, that is $90,000, and when it comes to Indian rupees, so it be for the freshers, it will vary between 5 lakh to 15 lakh for the freshers, and for the experience, it's grow as per your skill set and your experience exponential. So that was the basic reason, like how why to become. I hope you have it will build up your little bit interest towards the data scientist profile. Now let's comes to the other point, the essential points that are, yeah. So first of all, what is the data analyst? When we just talk about, okay, I want to become the data analyst, I convinced there are lots of opportunity and lots of salary. Then, but what is the data analyst? So data analysts are the professionals. Their primary job is to collect the data. Collect from where? Collect from the different sources, because we are in a like generation where in the earlier days data was stored in the files, in the Excel file, or you can say in the simple Word document, in the Word document, and there are around 150 plus databases in the market. The most common names are, you can say, MySQL, Oracle, MS SQL, or Cassandra, and Greenplum, Redshift. These are, so there are around 150 plus databases in the market. Some are the SQL and some are the NoSQL data sets. So data analyst, the person who collect the data from various sources, from the scattered sources, and then clean it. Because data, since like data is coming from the different sources. Some data is coming from the Excel file, some data is coming from the Word file. So when you just pick the data from over there, it having some noise, you can say noise, or the bad data. Bad data in sense, it may have the blank data, or it may have like, for example, for the there were the two data, one and one in with double quotes. So computer read one, the first one as the numeric and the second one as the character, or you can the string format. So when it comes to processing, it will process very different when it process the numerical data and the string data. So that part, how to clean the data and how to analyze the data, that is comes under the domain of data analyst. You are getting it. If you are having any query or any concern in between also, you can just use the chat window, and if you have a specific question, then post in the Q&A. We will take it out in the end of the session. So if you use the chat window, it will be more interactive, and I'll take care from that also. So these are the basic, you can say, responsibility. Now comes to the very layman language. So first of all, the data analyst collect the data from the different sources where they scattered in the data set. Then it clean the data so that we can process it further for our prediction part and the analyzing part. Now the time is to analyze the data, and for analyzing the data, we are having the different tools, the data analyst tools, the Power BI table view. I'll come to that particular point, but I'm explaining very in layman language so that you can understand. I hope you are all are getting that terminology which I'm using. If you are not, just use the chat window. So I'll make it more simpler way. How simpler, how I can. I'll try that particular part. Now the other point is, okay, data analysts do whatever these things, but what is the need to do? That is because you can say the senior leaders of any organization, they are not technically sound. They don't understand the terminology. Okay. When we say that, okay, these have the sales data for past 10 years, then just let me know how to perform for the what would be our next strategy in the market. So they just understand, you can say, the numbers. If I'll just put a particular book of 1000 pages and telling them, okay, this year we have done this much, this year second year we have done this much of sale, this won't make sense to them. So for the senior leaders, like they understand, you can say, the very crisp data, and even they don't have much time to, you can say, the see all the data. So for their understanding, data analyst process their data, and for the prediction, they process their data, they do everything, and they, after doing the everything, they make a report, and with the help of that particular report, they make it in a presentation mode. You can say how we predict. You have like most of the time you have seen the number of sales in the bar chart, where we have the bar chart. We where with the help of bar chart we can see, okay, the sales is going up or the sales is going down. So that simplistic way, how to present it and how to analyze that, that is the work for the data analyst. So when we are going to define it, so that is the collect the data from the various of sources, which I have tell you how and what are the different sources of the data, because there are the 150 plus of the databases, and in the earlier days there was the data being stored in the files, like in the Word document, text document, in the Excel files, and there are the other file formats also. If there are other file formats, that also, like in the new, you have currently you have seen the Excel file. Even the Excel files having the multiple uh, endpoint, like you have seen dot for the Excel file, .exec, XML, XML data, CSV files. So these are the different type of the file extensions, and the data is being stored in that particular file. So whenever we reading the data from the these sources, since they are the extension is different, so computer read it in the different way. So that's why we need to clean them. Now, for analyzing the data, we the data analyst require the critical skills, that statistical methods. In the school days, you have listened to most probably the mean, median, mode, and the probability. That was a confusing term, but that is a key skills in the data analyst profile. But don't worry, you don't need to go back in the school and learn everything. In the current days, we are having the programming language, like for the Python and for the R language. There are some inbuilt library where we have all the methods. We just need to remember the library name and not even the syntaxes, directly syntaxes. We, even most experienced person, Google it daily. That's not an issue. But you have the idea, like how the things is going on, how the skeleton done, and how the things we want to perform, and you have the thinking idea, that particular, and what is to do. So that was the required. Now, first of all, when a data analyst uses the data, they like data is the various. You have the data analyst work on the data which is having the millions of, you can say, GBs. You can say the 1000 dB, 2000 dB. That is the small number when you come to the data analyst profile. There are numerous data. So they try to identify the pattern, the data pattern the data. So you can see the similar types of data. Okay, data is going up, going down. What are the similar type of data? These kind of the patterns we used to find from the data. We just need to find the pattern, and based on the particular pattern, we take the decision, and we help the business to take the decisions. So that are the basic findings. So that's the of the data analyst. And the other thing is that now whenever you have the findings or your report prepared, then you need to communicate to the business leaders. And for the communicate, you need the good visualization skills, so that they can visually see the data and they can understand even without explaining to them. Okay, now go to the next slide. Now, what are the essential skills of the data analyst? That was the story. What is the data analyst and what they do on a daily basis? Now, what are the essential skills? Now, if I talk to essential skills, the first one is the programming language. You must have learned at least one programming language in your colleges. In my time, maybe like 6 to 7 years ago, that most popular programming language we used to learn from the college, that was the C language, C++, and the Java. Okay, but for the data analyst, the most popular language are R language and the Python. R is also the old language. Now the Python is the primemost language which is being used for the data analyst, or you can say the machine learning, data science, data engineering, that particular way. There are some different versions of the Python, like Python with the Spark, so that is called the PySpark. that way. But the Python the key skills. Even but don't worry if you are having the good knowledge about the C language or C++ or even the Java, that's good enough because Python is very simple to understand if you're having the basic understanding. Like in the Java is the also the OOPS language, and the Python is also the OOPS language. There are only syntactical difference. You have some idea like how the particular programming language works. Okay, and if you're having a good Java knowledge, some of the cloud platforms now are also like offered some data science library or the data analyst library in the Java language also. But the most popular one is the Python. If you have in the Java, you can still apply for the data analyst job with the Java programming language. Okay, I made it very clear. There is no necessary you can't. Best language is the Python. Uh, R language was the earlier were the very popular for the data analyst, but now the Python is the language because R was the much complex when it comes to writing the code. R was the little bit complex, but Python is very simple. It's like a normal language. Even the person who is not from a particular technical background, they can also understand the Python. Why like written? Because it's like English like language, so they can understand that. Okay. Now the other skills is yeah. If like in your college, if you have learned the C or C++ or the Java language, that's fine. Because whenever you are learning to a programming language, the most of the concepts are same, like inheritance or how to write the conditional statement, if else ladder, or the loops, for loop, while loop. Most of the are the exactly only the syntactical difference, and that syntactical difference you will learn with the time. You just need to go. Okay. Now the other key skill is the SQL. Why SQL? Because your 70% times goes into the collecting the data from the different sources. And what are the different sources? Obviously the databases. Maybe the databases from SQL side or the NoSQL side. But the language to fetching the data from the different sources are pretty much similar. Like select star from this is even if we are comes to fetching the data from SQL and the NoSQL like MongoDB and other word. So that is also the same. Now the other skills which I have put on the third number, that is the communication and the presentation skills. That is very essential because it's not a developer job where you just need to code and you just need to release. That's not the case in the data analyst profile, because in the data analyst profile it's a client facing profile. Client facing or the senior lead facing profile, where you have done all the research, all the analysis, then you have also developed the visualization tools. Now is the point to communicate, to present the data, to understand the senior persons. Okay, whatever you have done, what was that? Because like you have prepared that particular data set, you have learned, you have like analyzed the thousands of the GBs of the data. So you would be the best person to explain the things, no one else. Okay. So in the data analyst profile, your communication, the presentation skills also are critical point. Then you need to communicate in a very crisp manner, because like in the data analyst profile, since you are like fetching the data, so now it's not your opinion, it becomes your factual data, because you actually stating something based on the relevant fact, and you have to present that way. So communication should be very crisp, clear, so that because like the decision is being business decision is being made by the reports with the data analyst provide for that particular domain. So that is the very critical one. Okay. Communication is very critical skills. Now the statistical analysis, that particular skill set, that is very critical. But you should, at least you are not very good at, but you should have the understanding, the clarity in your mind. You don't need to, you hardly need to you can say write or understand, like write or the statistical formulas, mean, median, amount, these type of the things. You have the pre-built library, so on the coding part, that is very relevant to you. But you should have the understanding, because whenever you are just writing the data, whenever you writing the code for the statistical methods, you should have the clarity. Okay, this particular particular error we are facing, for example, what a very minimal example, in the data analyst role, there are, let's say there are the 10 rows on a particular data, which is where is the number from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that way. And there is a suddenly the one number which came as the 1 lakh. Okay. So when you read the data, you clearly understand, okay, this the data is, most of the data is varies between 1 to 10. But suddenly the one number is comes from the 1 lakh. That is, you can say, not is a similar one. So in that particular case, you should go with the mean, mode, or the median. So that was the critical questions we generally data analysts encounter on a daily basis. So how you would encounter? So your statistical approach would be in your mind. You should be very clear. So that's how it will help. Now on the data and data visualization tools, which data visualization you should use, the most common tools are Excel, Tableau, Power BI, and the Python library based visualization tools. Like Python has provided the SciPy, and the Bouquet. Bouquet is the library name, and there is the Matplotlib. So these are the 3 4 basic libraries which we use the visualization. But for the businesses, there are the dedicated tools which we use for the visualization. That is the Tableau and the Power BI. These are the essential skills. If you are like, since you are the college student, so if you are having these 2 or 3 skills, like the programming language and the good SQL command and the communication skills, you are good to face an interview in the data for the data analyst role. But you should have I'll come to that point, the other things required other than the skills. Okay. Now the first thing is like, okay, these particular skills are required, but I'm having, okay, 1 or 2, but I'm not having the others. So where I should gain the relevant skills. That's the particular lesson. The first thing is that in the today's era, internet just not for the TikTok and the Instagram. You can actually the study from the lots of the things from the internet. Like in the today's session also, we are like streaming on the YouTube. In the YouTube, there are the various online courses and the tutorials. You can take the reference from there. You can read books and the articles like Vidya Analytica and the other various sources which are provided over the web. These are almost free. You can work on the personal projects, like if you are in your college, whatever you have project done in your other language, you can say Java or C++, or in the Python, that's well and good. And the other thing is that the best thing that for the, especially for the data analyst, data science, or the machine learning, these particular profiles, you should you should at least go once for the Kaggle.com. It provides the Kaggle competitions, online competitions. Some are the time based, and some are non-time based. Like they have posted a particular competition, and that is just going on from the past 2 3 years. That part is also available in the Kaggle. You just need to the Kaggle. They provide you the data sets. In the data set, they are having the data sets which you need to clean, like the basic roles from the data analyst. They provide you the data set into the 3 to 4 files in the different manner. You need to just read the data from that particular files. Then you need to perform all the relevant steps with the data analyst profile required. You can start with the basic ones. In the Kaggle competition, they have like their study session and the guide. You can also see the solutions for a particular competition if that competition has ended. If you are just participating in the ongoing competition, you can't see the solutions, you just participate. But for the previous competitions, you can also refer the solutions, and you can better that way, you can understand. And the other thing is that you can contribute to the open source projects, or you can help the non-profitable organization, maybe, or maybe like if you are having your family soaps or not, just to help them with their data analytics uh, domain. So these are the things you can do. And now the other part is, okay, I'm from the small town background, or I'm not having the better communication skills. So how to improve? Trust me, I'm I was also having the communication problem because I am from the Uttarakhand. Okay, communication skills you just can't learn from the books or the tutorial. You have to practice. You have to practice on a daily basis. only then you can just improve the communication. So you, for that practice, you can just practice by the daily basis, maybe your friends, your cousins, your brother, sister, because like parents are generally not much aware about the English language. For mine, that are not. And the other thing is that you can join the communication classes, or there is the one time the Toastmasters Club. I hope few of them you have heard about the Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster Club basically, there are some people who are the member of that particular club. They they generally meet every week, or you can say the bi-weekly, and they practice they conduct some meetings and they practice the communication skills. You can use the community or the Toastmasters Club, or you can practice at your home. But for the communication, for the betterment of the communication, you have to practice on the day. There is no way, no other way now. Okay. Now, yeah. Now this is the quote, which is which is like said by the Jeff Bezos, CEO of the Elon Musk. Data is like crude oil. Raw data, or the raw data is no for the no use. Like the oil, oil is like in we refine the oil from the raw material from the seas, but it can fuel your basically I'll explain how you can do. You have like I have also like this particular line. Data analysts play a vital role in helping the business make the better decisions. Because because data analysts say each and every word based on the factual data from the past. Okay, so if a business is taking a critical decision based on the data analyst and they are not doing they also very in the correct manner, so they may might got ended by the makeup losses in the business. Okay. Now my some last piece of advice is that is that data analyst is a good profile, but choose from your interest. If you if you feel good while interacting with the data, if you feel good while doing all this stuff, then pursue with the data analyst profile. Data analyst is a very good profile, but not the only profile. Okay. So if you are just choosing for the data analyst profile, there are some few tips. Set the realistic goals. Don't say I'll just study for 12 hours per day. That's not going to happen. Whatever your daily habits, if you study for the 2 or 3 hours, make the realistic goals for yourself. Don't afraid to take help. If you are not getting any very simplistic things, go just ask from someone, from your friends, colleagues, or even you can just post it over the community platforms. For each platform, Python is giving this community platform, or you can just post on the LinkedIn, or even you can connect with me also over the LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help you out. And just be consistent and don't give up. So thank you for your time. But now is the time for the question and answers. So if you have any
Yeah.
questions, just let me know.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions. So someone has asked that which language is going to be the best for a data analyst role? Because in colleges, these languages are not being, that's what is being said, that the colleges don't teach you these languages. So what are the languages that college students can learn for a role in data analyst, and what is the best language to learn, basically?
Yeah. So there is the you can say I'll take this particular question the two way. The first thing is that the best language in the current in the current market for IT professionals, that are the Python, Java language, and there are the some couples of other language which are not the traditional, like the Salesforce and the other. But if you are specifically preparing for the data analyst profile, go for the Python, nothing else. In the colleges, in the colleges, generally the Python is not taught by the teachers in the previous curriculum. If you have learned the C language or C++ or the Java, that's sufficient to start with, because because the concept of the every programming language is almost similar. And I have seen that Pragya Singh, like she has not experience. She is an art student, so probably she won't study any programming language. Okay, so for you, like even if you don't have the any experience or any knowledge about the programming language, start with the Python only. Because Python having the syntaxes which is very similar to the English language, and you just need to practice the each concept on a daily basis. Don't just like bombard yourself with a lots of things. Okay, I have to do this, I have to finish this particular thing in the 1 week or the 1 day. Things takes times, and you need to practice it. Only then you will able to do so.
Okay. Then another question is that I'm an art student and I don't have any experience into data analytics. So, what is it that one can do to improve the situation?
Okay. Yeah, I have already answered this particular thing. Okay, let me repeat, no problem. It's like since you are from the art background or the commerce background or anyone who is from the non-IT background, so those people's Python is the very good choice to start with. I would strongly recommend don't go with the C++ or the C language. You can start with Java. That is another option. That's fine. But start with the Python because the Python is having the very good syntaxes. Why I'm saying this? Because I have past experience in the C, C++, or the C sharp language. They're having the complex kind of structure. So, and whenever you are just learning a particular language, don't learn the syntaxes. Don't ever learn the syntaxes. Just understand the conceptual things. Concept, for example, there is the there is a concept for the conditionals statement. Understand what is the conditional statement. Conditional is like if else. If else means if this particular condition is true, then we have to do this piece of the work, or if it's the whole, we have to do this particular work. This is the concept. Okay, now whenever you're just writing the code in the Java, Python, C++, that is the pretty much similar. You can say the syntaxes would be the different, but the concept would be the same. So learn always the concept rather than the focusing on the syntaxes. Because like in my experience till now, I have worked around 4 to 5 languages, but but like to be frank, I'm not having the, you can say, the 100% knowledge on that all the 6 languages, but I'm having the conceptual things very clear in my mind. And some of the time when I write the code on a daily basis, sometimes we just struggle with the syntaxes, because like sometimes I just writing the code with the Python and I just put the semicolon. Semicolon is the that is not required in the Python, so it will throw the error. Because like this, whenever you work for multiple language, these common mistakes are very common. I hope uh, I have like cleared your answer.
Hmm. Okay. So the next question is, okay, someone has asked, please suggest a trainer to start Python and other programming languages. Um, Trainer, I don't know if that you can answer, but maybe you can answer in terms of any resources or any courses that they can do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like whenever like you are just learning from a particular language, for the specific for the Python, in the Python or the data science or the analyst profile, I would recommend you the iNeuron, or you have like listen from the Chris Nayak from the YouTube channel. Chris Nayak or the iNeuron. These are the now iNeuron is the part of the physics wala, that particular community. So these are the community platform. There is very minimal courses, very minimal fees, and some courses are free. They just, and there is another YouTube channel that is the Code Basics. That is very good. And if you have a good habit to learn by reading the things, so you can just go for the Geeks for Geeks, that particular website which I refer most of the times. And like most of the websites provided the inbuilt compiler, so you can just practice over there. And the traditional way, you can just also go for the hack, like since you are the freshers, you can go for the hacker or the hacker rank. But the benefit by going over there, that is, if you just practice, if you just reading, by the reading you need to solve some questions over there. So if you are doing that particular questions correctly, so it will score you, it will give you some rank. So the higher so the how much the as good rank you have, there are the high chances that you will get the interview call from the hacker and portal itself. Or whenever you're applying for the job, you can mention I'm having this much of rank from the hacker or the hacker rank platform. So that simply say that okay, you are having the very good programming skills that way. I hope it will help.
Yeah, so I really have, I can take quickly one more question because of some technical issues, my laptop is going to restart automatically. So there are a couple of questions that have come in. I think we can take them up together. The first question is data analyst hard or not? Is it best for, is it the best profile for freshers? And the third question is that only by coding can we go into the field of data analyst, or there are other things also required to be learned?
Yeah, like I say this question seems funny. Like even like this particular thing is hard or not. So like there is no answer for that particular questions because it varies from person to person. That's why I have mentioned in the last. It is a very good profile to pursue, but not the only profile. If you while learning the for the data analyst profile, if you enjoy the things like the data analyst profile, how to like play with the data, how to you can say the visualize the data, then go for this. If you are not enjoying or you are just feeling the depressed, stop it. There are some other profiles as well. And now the other thing is that for this particular thing, good or bad, it's a very good profile. Good in terms because it's having the higher demand in the market and has the future scope because now in a current day we are generating a lots of data. They are having and the all the companies are moving to cloud. Why they are moving to cloud? Because the per day data is generated in the terms of the terabyte, petabyte, so on. So like how much the data would be there, the more the world require the data analyst who analyze that particular data. So it's having the good future scopes and the current salary package is also good. And hopefully in that trend also in the future also the salary wages are also. That's the reason to pursue with the data analyst.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the session. I'm just going to quickly launch a poll for the participants who are there. Just let us know if you found the session helpful. How likely are you going to be recommending it to your friends? And also, thank you so much for being so interactive because we got a lot of questions in the chat as well as in the Q&A. Um, Thank you so much, Akash, for coming on board and taking other time to share your insights with our audience. Okay, so I think we have some answers in the poll, and I am going to quickly end that as well. Um, okay, just there are a few more inputs coming in, so maybe I'll wait for a minute or so. This session is also being streamed on YouTube. I've shared the link in the chat. So if you guys just want to revisit the session later on, you can just go to the YouTube link and the session will be up there. So thank you so much once again, Akash. Thank you so much for coming on board and sharing your insights.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And like you can also connect with the LinkedIn if you require. I'll be happy to help you out over there also.